it's always like going in this direction where like you then get to like flower, you get to express, right? And it's so easy for you. It's so effortless. But it's like this. It's like it's just constantly getting refined. You're just following it more and more. You're following it more and more. And then you're actually seeing that actually this following your heart, it's both you're following it to yourself and you're expressing yourself. It's one and the same. I've mentioned this before. I think the video was talking about like creative potential. And it's like I said, it's hard to talk about this without talking about something else. But this creativity, this creative potential, someone like an artist or someone that's creating music or anything, everything is cooking, like anything is creative. But it's fine. It's seeing that actually you're it's like you're already on the path. Like this path, it could be knitting for you, it could be walking around the block, it could be cooking, but a lot of people don't recognize it because it's like we have an idea of what's a spiritual path, but it's like this activity is a pathway that's you're finding yourself and you're expressing yourself, you're experiencing yourself by this through this activity, you're experiencing yourself, that which is formless, this joy, this freedom, this love, this peace. It's formless. The activity is not giving you it. It's not dependent on the activity. It's just a pathway that you're finding yourself, you're experiencing yourself, you're tasting your true nature via this activity. And this activity is like it's you're following it to yourself, you could say. It's really just the attention that's following it to yourself, and then you're able to then express yourself through the same activity. This is why it's like it's such a joy to create. Like you're experiencing yourself, and then it's like you're it's this feeling of you're so full, you're overflowing with it. You can't help it. It's like it's uncontrollable. And the more you create, the more joy you're experiencing, the more free you're feeling, the more peaceful you are, the more love you have, and it just wants to be shared. It just wants to be shared. So that's another like sign. Another sign is it's leading you in a direction that's more all-inclusive. So I kind of hinted on this where it's something just kind of feels too tight. This job kind of it just feels a little too limiting. Right? So then it's just, there's a feeling that you just want to break free from it. And you're going to then something that's more limitless, something that's more inclusive. Right? But the mind, it wants to stay in like a tight little, like a cozy little spot. And this is familiar. This is familiar. This is what I'm used to. But stepping into that known, it's always this feeling of expansion. This expansion is the love that you're feeling. That you can feel that the move in that direction of love. And it's not something that you just like, oh, okay, you make this one big decision. Here's a career decision. What I'm talking about is you're following this literally moment to moment. Moment to moment, you're following it. Like you're waking up and you're listening, you're tuned in. And you'll start noticing that your life is moving in more of a direction that's spontaneous, because this feeling is very spontaneous. So your life is starting moving in this direction it's more spontaneous, it's more free, and it's an expression of like your highest enthusiasm, your highest excitement, your highest passion. So you can't help but feel alive. People who feel very depressed, they feel like dead inside because they know and they hate being around someone like me that just kind of points it out, that says like, what do you really love doing? And then they go, I don't know. I don't even know what I love doing. When's the last time you did something that you love? And they're like, I don't know. And that's very triggering to someone, because it's mirroring the fact that you're actually suppressing yourself, that there's something in you that wants to come alive. That love is the aliveness. It's life itself that just wants to be expressed, but there's something that's saying, no, not today. Not today. Every day it's like there's something that's just here. And it comes out, it comes out effortlessly. It takes effort to suppress it. And that's what's so depressing. That's what's draining. Without this suppression, without that resistance to the aliveness, this aliveness would just, it flowers. You can't help but feel it. You're literally, you're living your highest potential. So it's like tuning into that. It's tuning into that at the start. What did we say? Like all inclusive. You just see it's just, it wants to share. It wants to include. It's not so much about me. If you're building like a business, it's not just about me making money. It's like, no, it's like you're including other people. You care about their well-being. You want to help them. You want them to grow. You want to bring them along. You want to provide for them. If it's like your family, it's always this expansion. Someone's so individual and they're so selfish, and then it's like, oh, and then this love expands. Now you got a family. Now you got 2 kids or 3 kids or 4. You got a wife or husband. It's this expansion. It's more and more all inclusive, because love is all inclusive. And these decisions that you're making, they're not made they're not made on like a personal level. So what I mean by that is the decisions become more and more impersonal. So it's not like there's a lot of like, suffering is personal, but happiness is actually impersonal. Right? So when we're making all these decisions, it's personal, then there's like this kind of, you feel like you're stuck. It's very tight. But when these decisions are made more, it's impersonal. It's more impersonal. It's more all inclusive. Then you see that actually it's like that block is being actually like dissolved or removed. And then you can see that these decisions are actually made from love, because fear is very personal. Love is impersonal. So these decisions are just, they're being made from love. Another way you can say it, instead of using like fear, is lack. Are these decisions being made from a place of lack? I need this. This is lack. I want this. This is lack. Or is it coming from a place of love? Love is like this fullness. I'm feeling full, so I'm going to share. Right? It'd be like your yoga stuff. You're full of this yoga knowledge. You're full of this passion for yoga. You're full of this love to teach. So then the activity is an expression of that. You're feeling all of that is formless, and you're finding form. So it's like, let's say this example of, you set up some yoga YouTube channel. You're finding expression. You're feeling this formless fullness. You're feeling this, it's all formless, and you're giving it form. Now, how you give it form could look like anything. Could look like a book, could look like the yoga YouTube channel, could look like where you're at with your job right now and just doing more of that. Whatever it is, but you're connecting to the formless, and then you're expressing that formless. You're giving form to it. You're giving shape. What does it look like? You're seeing that just in this example here with you know, with myself, it's just, I'm just giving it, it's just giving it shape, giving it form through these meetings. Or sometimes it's just like some like those little quotes that I post, little creative, put an image, put some line of text. It's just giving it form. But it's because you're tuned into the formless. And like I said, is like this pathway, it's a way of finding the formless and it's a way of expressing the formless. The two are one. It's where you see like I sent someone like a music like a video on YouTube, like hand pan, this like instrument is very relaxing. And you know, he was saying that, yeah, you can tell that it's like a spiritual practice for the guy that's playing. Exactly, because this creative expression is actually like, you know, his pathway to experience himself. So as he's playing, he's experiencing himself, and the playing is an expression of himself. You can't separate the two. So this could look like playing an instrument, it could look like painting, it could look like gardening, it could look like yoga practice, it can look like anything. It can look like anything. Where I just show a lot of people is like with more of like a progressive path is show you already where it is in your life. I'm not giving you a path and saying you have to walk this path. I'm showing you where you're actually already walking it and just illuminating it. And then it's more of it feels like you lean into it more. By seeing it in your own life, you already see. Like I could show a lot of the, you know, a lot of different examples for someone like just last week is walking and just illuminating it and showing that it's the path. Then is like she started leaning into it more. Someone else was cooking. And this following your heart, it's always an adventure. It is an adventure. It's an adventure. And that's what I mean is that it's like a calling. You get but by suppressing that call, by like ignoring it, is life just doesn't feel like an adventure. It just doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel fun. Right. But it's the first is like is listening for that call and then hearing that call. And then it's like you kind of like come closer to it. And then it's like now accepting that call and then like honoring that call, honoring that love. Like, because every moment it's like this kind of, it can be like this decision at the start when you're not used to it. Like, what am I listening to? This mind was always so fearful, or is it my heart that's just in love with life? And you start seeing that you're actually moving in this direction that's just a love for life, and everything just becomes more freeing and playful and exciting and spontaneous and joyful and magical. It's like this adventure, and it's just to live, to step into the unknown more and more, to live in the unknown, which is essentially, it's just stepping into the unknown. It always sounds like you're doing something. It's just letting go of the known. It's that mind, the familiar, that says like, you can't do this and no. And it's this kind of, you're leaving that behind. You're leaving that behind. And it always wants to kind of know like, well, like what's the next step, and where is this leading, and what's the destination? What is it? This is the destination. The journey is the destination. There's not something better than this. There's only this. So like the freedom starts now. You can't be waiting for it. There's no freedom in the future. You start living now. It's like a decision that when you realize that you're like, oh, I'm just like stuck in this fear and I'm not living, there's something in me that just wants to break free of whatever it is. It could be like your relationship, could be like your old job, it could be there's something that it breaks. It breaks. But it's it's I'm showing you is like at the path at the start is like following this, and it's just leading you into more and more subtle um experiences. More you find that you're more and more receptive, more and more sensitive. You can sense it really feels like you have um like your finger on the pulse of life. Like you're feeling the pulse. And I'm not going to bring like, the word God into it, because I think, a lot of people have different kind of projections of it. But one thing that, and just swap that word for life, and it's like it's less like triggering, and even a lot of people don't have a problem with just but just you're just feeling life. You're feeling life. You're feeling like this. You're feeling like a flow, like this following your heart. It's not like here that's just straight and it's dry and it's rigid, this straight and narrow path. No, it's like it's an adventure. It's you're flowing.